What's up, everybody? I'm Shad the Boss, that's Boss with a Zero, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Johncast, where we're going to be taking things back to our childhood in this nostalgic episode. This week, I'm joined by
BxA Dragon,
the mighty Asterisk,
and our special guest this week,
Demetria. For those of you who are listening to us on YouTube and are interested, there is a link to our SoundCloud in the description box. Listening to Johncast on SoundCloud will enable you to listen on the go without constantly keeping the app open. And if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, be sure to check us out on YouTube to hear the full collection of Johncast episodes. The account is under the same name as our SoundCloud, Shadow the Boss. That is Boss with a Zero.
And this Friday, we're hosting a game night on The Division. If you guys are interested in joining us, you can send me a message on Xbox Live on the Shadow the Boss. And it's going to be on a first-come, first-served basis. And if it's going to be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys are interested in joining, just send me a message, and I'll see if you guys can be a part of it.
Alrighty, guys, I want to just give a quick shout-out to Pokemon. They had their 20th anniversary that recently came by, so happy birthday, Pokemon. Woo!
Woo!
Yay!
I don't know about you guys, but Pokemon was a huge part of my childhood. I remember playing the games, TV shows, everything. Anything Pokemon related, I was on it as a kid. My first game ever playing Pokemon related was probably Pokemon Red. Yeah, that's it. That was my first Pokemon game ever playing. What about you guys? Have you guys played any of the games?
I remember as a kid mooching off my brothers because they were the ones that always got all the cool stuff. And I was able to play Pokemon Blue just because my brother had it. And it was pretty cool, although he did get pissed off when I fucked up his file.
What'd you do, erase it?
No, I just did stuff for him, and he didn't like it.
Wasted his Master Ball on a Caterpie?
No, why would I do so? I'm not an idiot. Come on.
I did that to my friend.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's real fucked up.
It was great. I gave him mine, though, when we traded Pokemon. I had a Master Ball. I was like, oh, here, you can take mine, I guess. Whatever.
I was never a Pokemon kid.
No?
Growing up, everybody around me was really into Pokemon. They had all the cards. I remember the cards. It was like serious gambling. It was like, hey, you got to play Pikachu. And I mean, I was just looking at everybody like, what is going on? Because I was sort of into Yu-Gi-Oh, so I was kind of in that world, but I was definitely like, this is weird. And I was always a Dragon Ball guy, so I kind of looked down on people.
Were you one of the only few of the kids who actually knew the rules to the Dragon Ball game?
Actually, yeah, I believe I collected Dragon Ball cards. I don't remember much about it, but I definitely remember collecting Dragon Ball cards. But I will say this about Pokemon. I did watch the anime occasionally, thought it was very jumpy and weird, but I loved Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, that game was great. Holy crap.
I love that game.
They should make a sequel, and have every single Pokemon up to date.
I thought they sort of did. Wasn't there a game for the GameCube that was like Pokemon DX or something like that?
Yeah. That one actually I had a lot of fun with because I was a dick in that game. Once I found out I could steal other trainers' Pokemon, I was all over that shit. I remember when I first got Pokemon Stadium for Christmas, and I was so excited because originally I thought it was going to be like the cartoons where you get a Pokemon, you can control it and move and maybe like real-time action, you can do the moves or whatever, and then when I found out...
Which is the game that they should make, which is... It's very bizarre that game doesn't exist.
Well, they are. It's called Pokken. It's Pokemon Tekken.
Well, Pokken...
Oh, Pokken Tournament.
I'm really excited for that. I don't even care about Pokemon, but I really want to play that game.
I'm really excited for that. So then when I found out that the game was turn-based, like the Game Boy games and all that, I was a little upset. But the mini-games made up for it. I remember that's all I would play.
Those mini-games were freaking crazy. The Lickitung mini-games and stuff.
Did anyone ever play Pokemon Snap?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't like that one too much.
No, I beat that game in 2 hours. That game was fun. I liked it though.
That game was awesome. I played that game for like hours. I was just like, yeah.
It's like a game that should be a mini game, kind of like the other mini games in Stadium.
Sort of, but they were able to make it into like a full game, which still is kind of bizarre. I mean, it really is like a roller coaster ride more than anything.
It was like Pokemon Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Demetria? You played any games as a kid?
Yes, actually, my favorite game, and actually a very prominent part of my childhood, was when Dragon would come and visit me, and we would play Marvel vs. Capcom on an old Sega Dreamcast.
Oh,
nice. Good taste. Good taste.
I remember I went down there. Oh, those of you who don't know, Demetria is my god sister, so I would go down and visit her during the summers and stuff, and I would stay at her house for a week, and that whole week we would just play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Dreamcast, and we would go back and forth. And then also, funny thing is, Demetria is younger than me, and she was showing me some really cool tricks on her Super Mario's 2. Was it that you have?
I had Super Mario 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and she was showing me some secrets and shit that I didn't even know, and I was like, what the hell? You're like 5 years younger than me. How do you know all this?
That's crazy.
I was getting schooled. I felt bad, like my gamer pride was hurt.
I bet.
You're being schooled by an 8-year-old.
Usually in the gaming community, when you're a girl, it's just way worse. It's just like, oh, you got beat by a girl? Oh, you suck.
Yeah, there's no respect for girl gamers. If you beat a girl gamer, it's like, okay, good for you. You beat a girl, but if you get beat by a girl, it's like, ha, you got beat by a girl. There's really no win for women in the gaming community.
Nope.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. People can be really, really sexist and racist too in the gaming community. It's like a madhouse. You know, it's a free for all.
You'll find it sexist and racist pretty much everywhere.
True, but in the gaming community more so because people can hide behind their gamer tag and hide behind the mic.
That's very true.
And they can't go face to face with
almost
anybody.
anonymous.
Oh, it's almost anonymous. Yeah, like me for example. When I used to get on Xbox, people would just call me a whole bunch of racist things, the N-word and stuff like that, and I'm not even black. I'm Dominican, but I am so light-skinned. I am so light-skinned. I could pass off for a white person in real life, even though I'm not.
Really? I thought you were until you told me you were Dominican. I was like, what?
I
Yeah.
always thought you were like Italian, but like thick blood, like Italian, like
Exactly.
pizza stuff. Wow, I just got super racist. No, okay,
But yeah, the gaming community can be real relentless.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary. There's
Did
so much going on.
Oh,
What games do you guys remember having like a lot of memories? Because like I remember when I was younger, playing a lot of Super Smash Brothers Melee, and just the memories. That's like one of the basically the music has been like ingrained in my brain. The same thing with like the first Budokai Dragon Ball game.
yes.
Like they're like ingrained in my brain just from playing it so much as a young kid and playing as the same character over and over. Like in Melee, I would always play as Samus because I thought Samus was the coolest thing in the world. I thought
She was really cool.
So
She was-
cool.
I liked using Marth. Marth was my main. He was my bread and butter.
When I was a kid, I remember playing a lot of Legend of Zelda. I had on the N64 Majora's Mask, and I didn't have Ocarina of Time. I never had it.
Really?
My cousin
That's weird.
did. But I did play Majora's Mask, and it had the gold cartridge and everything. It was pretty cool. And that game I'll spend a lot of time on, and then I think it was because of that game that my problem-solving skills developed a lot better because there was a lot of time travel you have to do in order to beat the game. You only have 3 days to do the whole entire game in the day. Like in the game took place in 3 days, and you had to beat every single temple within those 3 days. So in order to do it, you have to constantly, revert back to the first day, and then eventually, as you beat every temple one by one, you'd have to do a whole entire speed run of the whole game towards the end of it in order to beat it. And it was intense.
That game's awesome.
Fun fact, I actually have never played a Zelda game, so I can't say that's a part of my childhood.
Really?
Jeez.
Never.
Wow.
What's wrong
What
with you?
you should do? You should play either Link to the Past or Wind Waker.
See, and a lot of people...
Either of those should be your first.
My friend, he doesn't live too far from me, he actually owns most of the Zelda games. I just never bothered to ask to play them or anything, because growing up, I never played Zelda. A lot of people that I know say that that's like their childhood, that's what they remember. Mine was Donkey Kong and Super Mario Brothers and Killer Instinct. Like me and my cousins, we grew up at my grandma's house. So during the summers, she would babysit us there. We all went to the same school, so as soon as we got out of school, we would walk back to my grandma's house and wait for our parents to pick us up. But we would always play Donkey Kong, Super Mario World, or Killer Instinct, and that was it. So what came Nintendo 64 was actually when I was brought into different games. When I started seeing Turok, I started seeing Super Smash Brothers, Mario Party, a bunch of games, but never have I ever came across a Zelda game. None of my friends had it until recently.
So bizarre. I feel so sad for you.
Yeah,
A
Zelda's
lot of people say that, and a lot of people will say, how are you going to say you're a gamer when you've never played Zelda? And I was like, well,
Don't listen to them. That's bullcrap.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
absolutely
wow, I didn't know that it was like blasphemy for them.
No, I mean, that's just a rule somebody will make up on the spot. Don't like, I wouldn't worry about that. But you really should play Zelda because Zelda's
No, and I want to. My friend actually he still has his GameCube and he has a copy of Twilight Princess and he's like, whenever you want, just.
Don't play freaking Twilight Princess. Are you kidding me? You gotta start with Wind Waker or Link
I
to
heard
the Past.
Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. Those are the only games that I always hear back and forth. The funny thing is, I actually know the lore to Zelda. I know what the games are about. I just never played them. The only reason why
I'm like that. I'm like that with a lot of games.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I would often get bored. I didn't really have access to a lot of video games, some, but not a lot. So what I would do is I would go online and just read about everything. I would read about games and their lore, and I would like read about every single one of the characters and get to know them well. So basically, it felt like I had played the game without actually playing it. And
Yeah.
I got that way about Twisted Metal. Like, I was super into the Twisted Metal, and I've only played Twisted Metal like twice, maybe, in my life. But I was like super into the lore and like the characters and stuff. And like Twisted Metal is not a very complicated franchise. It's about like killer cars. But I was like super into it. And the same thing with Mortal Kombat. But I actually played a lot of Mortal Kombat. Like you were saying that what were the games that you said that defined your childhood? Like
Killer Instinct,
Killer Instinct, yeah, and the others. And
Super
like, I was
Mario
thinking about
Brothers,
that.
Donkey Kong.
Super Mario, exactly. I remember being super because I mean Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I remember that being in an arcade. Played a lot of Metroid and a lot of Mortal Kombat. Those were basically my two bigs, and also a little bit in Marvel vs. Capcom. I was super into Marvel vs. Capcom because I like comic
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my uncle used to live with me, and he had a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom for his Dreamcast, and like a lot of the games that I knew about as a kid growing up was watching him play. I would always sit there and watch him play, and then he would hand me the controllers, like, all right, now you try it. So he would do a lot of that, and then, you know, like a lot of the Resident Evil stuff, like I know a lot of Resident Evil lore just because, you know, watching him play. That's actually a lot of my video game nostalgia that comes from is actually him, because he owned like every system, every game, and with him living with me, it was easy. I had access to a lot of them, but again, I didn't have access to a Zelda game.
Resident Evil is really complex lore. I feel bad for you because you know, but you don't get it.
You don't get it, no, because I remember going to the movies a lot. Again, with my uncle, he's the one who introduced me into a lot of video games, and so he's like, "Hey, let me show you something." I was like, "All right." So he took me to an arcade for the first time, and I remember a whole crowd just being around this Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade machine.
Awesome.
Yeah, he pretty much showed me the code to arcade gaming, the code to, you know, competitive gaming and everything. Like a lot of the knowledge that I know was through him. So like he went up, he had a token, he put it on the arcade cabinet. He's like, "All right, I'm next," and then just showed me like everything, and I was just watching him.
I got a question for you guys.
What's up?
So what do you guys think of TV shows that are based off of storylines from video games? Any of the Pokemon series, Dragon Ball Z? They had a very brief Super Mario TV show. It was a cartoon. I don't know if you guys watched it.
There was the Super Mario Super Show, and there's Super Mario 3, the cartoon.
Which was weird, because I remember Yoshi talking.
Yeah, both of them are absolutely terrible. They
There's
look terrible, they sound terrible, they're really bad. The Zelda cartoon's really bad, too.
Yeah, that's right. I remember wasn't there like a small like show that lasted like what, maybe 4 or 5 episodes?
Yeah, and it was...
Well,
it was
excuse me,
longer than that.
princess.
Excuse me, princess. And then there was also Captain N, the Game Master. Have you guys ever heard of Captain N, the Game Master?
I don't think so.
No.
No. I've definitely seen
Captain N. It was about a guy who gets sucked into his Nintendo, and he like teams up with Simon Belmont and Mega Man, and like is basically and is fighting Mother Brain, and it was created by Nintendo as a way to sell their products, and like one of the characters was a robot named Game Boy. I'm completely serious. This was a real show.
That's very uncomfortable to watch. It's like very cringeworthy and a total inaccurate representation of most of the characters, and for any of the cartoons.
Yeah, like Link
Well-
never talked. Ever.
Ever, true.
Did you guys know that there was a there was a Street Fighter cartoon?
Yes.
It was called Street Fighter V, I believe, or Street Fighter 2 V. Good lord! But there was also a Mortal Kombat cartoon series for kids.
Yeah, it took place after Mortal Kombat 2. It was supposed to be in between 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I remember that because Scorpion was the way that they drew him was so bad. I didn't like it.
It's a like a kid's cartoon, sort of like Batman the Animated Series, only a lot worse. And it's like totally kid friendly, and they're like a superhero team, like Sub-Zero and Sonya Blade, and it's really really bizarre. And it's like why would you make a kids cartoon about Mortal Kombat? And what's weird is that one of the episodes is really good. but like the rest of it's terrible.
Yeah, it's. I remember watching it, I'm like, why is this a thing? Why do I feel like my soul's hurt now?
Because they even they obviously took inspiration from other cartoons that were going on at the time. Because like Sub-Zero acts like Batman, and like it's like really bizarre, and it doesn't feel right, especially for Mortal Kombat. I'm like, in the games, if a kid goes and watches this show and they're like, oh, okay, I'll play a Mortal Kombat video game, and then they're ripping each other's skulls out. Like,
yeah, they should not make a
think...
kids show about a game like that. Like, especially now, if you play like Mortal Kombat X, imagine they made a show about that, just like a kids cartoon about that. They'd be like, oh my god, look at Scorpion and Batman Sub-Zero.
But back then, you can get away with
back then there was no rating system, so no one cared.
Yeah, you can get away with so much more in the 90s cartoons than you do now.
You say that, but I remember a few years ago, I was watching Cartoon Network. I don't know why, but I was watching Cartoon Network and a commercial came on for Halo toys, and I was like, "Isn't Halo an M-rated game?"
Yeah, they still make Halo toys to this day.
There was like Halo toys, and I was like, "This is like if I mean, it's not like Halo's ultra like necessarily violent. In fact, they made Guardians T, so apparently they don't care." I was just kind of off put by that. I was like, they slap an M 17+, but you're putting it on a Cartoon Network. It felt really weird. It felt kind of like that Mortal Kombat thing.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, they still make toys to this day. Like even like when Halo was still rated M, and I guess what it is for is like for like the parents or the adults, so they can see the toys and be like, oh, cool, I can have like a little memorabilia. Like right now, like if I see like a cool Master Chief figurine for sale, I'll be like, oh, cool, that's a pretty tough Master Chief. The kids definitely played Halo. I remember playing Halo as a kid. I was 8 years old.
Oh, I definitely played Halo. I think everybody plays Halo as a kid now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to make that like a T rating and give it toys and stuff. I never understood why they didn't try to market it to kids anyway. Because I mean, when you shoot people, only like a little bit of blood comes out. But I mean, most of the blood is alien blood. It's Greek.
Exactly, yeah, and blue and purple, and it's weird.
And it's not like they curse.
They rarely curse.
Yeah.
They very rarely.
I think that's why they were able to get away with it.
Like, what's it called?
It's not like Gears of War where they're freaking chainsawing people in half.
Yeah, imagine they have a Gears of War show for kids.
Oh, that would be amazing. I want to put a freaking Gears of War show on Nickelodeon.
Do it.
What kind of weapons would they be using? They're definitely not chainsaw assault rifles.
Like rubber bullets and rubber chainsaws.
Yeah, Brian.
Ow, that stings.
I think the sad truth is no matter how good a video game is, the representation on TV isn't as good. But I mean, I guess that's why we have our other favorite TV shows, like dependable cartoon series.
What was the first TV series you guys fell in love with that you remember?
I was going to say that real quick, that there is one good TV show series that I think was based off of a game, or at least at the time was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It wasn't based on a game.
Well, based off a comic book, but they had games back in the day. Yeah, it was based off a comic book.
They had the games after the cartoon.
I'm a little irked that they have spin-offs of original cartoons. Like right now they're working on Powerpuff Girls spin-off. And they did the same
terrible.
It's terrible. Like
it looks
like what they did to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've actually heard that the reboot's pretty good. Like apparently it's gotten really good reviews, which it doesn't surprise me. They seem to do a pretty good job on TV because like pretty much every Turtles cartoon has been praised, and this newest one on Nickelodeon is apparently just as good. But the new Powerpuff Girls is terrible.
I love the original ones too. That's another show that I grew up with, Powerpuff Girls and stuff.
It's a show that I loved as a kid.
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like now. I'm not going to judge it right away because I haven't seen it for myself, the actual show. So I do want to check that out.
Like every other Cartoon Network show. That's what's really sucky about it, is that it just looks like everything else. It looks like Steven Universe or Adventure Time. Not saying that those are necessarily bad, but
it's like the new era of cartoons.
Yeah, exactly, and it's kind of disappointing.
The style is too similar.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. I the first moment I saw it, I was like, nope, something's wrong.
I want to check it out though for myself because the old one I really liked it. It was it had a lot of action, for a cartoon show, especially about three little girls, But they just kicked ass. They all had superpowers and stuff. It was really interesting and caught my attention.
I think Powerpuff Girls really, really helped me realize as a kid, like girls can be awesome too.
Yeah,
like, it was definitely something that it was like, I don't have to relate. Like I don't need every character to be a boy to relate to them. Like I love the Powerpuff Girls. Yeah. Like, and I didn't like it. I think it taught me like a valuable lesson about like heroes. Like, oh, girls are cool too. Did you guys see the movie?
Which one?
With
there
Mojo
was a
Jojo?
yeah,
Like
where
the
it
main
basically
plot?
shows their origin. It's still a comic book, or it's still a cartoon, but they did a movie. It was actually released in theaters, and it showed the Powerpuff Girls' origin and Mojo Jojo's origin.
Yeah,
And
I saw that.
it was actually
I
really
thought it was really
awesome.
cool. I liked it.
I think I missed it. If I didn't miss it, then I just completely forgot about it.
They promoted it by making a music video and everything. I remember the guys with like the weird like platform hats doing like the Mojo Jojo song.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember
oh,
that?
God,
Like,
why
like what is it? I think it's like go Jojo go.
I'm being overwhelmed with nostalgia right now. Oh my god! Holy crap! I remember that. I probably haven't thought about that in like 10 years.
Whenever I think Powerpuff Girls, I think those guys dancing, and then I think of everything else. Just because I remember like their weird like goofy hats, I'm like, I want one of those.
Well, you can't go wrong with a few goofy hats.
Exactly. I still want. I like to this day. I still want a propeller hat. Just because.
Yeah, you need that little beanie, the propeller beanie. If you don't have it, like, what are you doing with your life?
Exactly.
Like, when you guys were growing up, I'm pretty sure you guys all had, like, specific channels that you'd always go to watch your cartoons. Like, there wasn't just you'd watch all of them. There's always that one go-to channel that you always want to go to. There's either, like, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and there's always that fight between the three. Which one was yours favorites?
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network over all of them. Yes.
Friday night Cartoon Network. That was new episode night.
and I remember a bunch of people being into SpongeBob, and I was like, I mean, not that I really hated SpongeBob or anything. I did like it, but I was just like, really? You would take that over Dexter's Laboratory, Codename Kids Next Door, Grim Adventures? You know,
Ed,
it
Ed and Eddie.
was
Ed and Eddie.
yeah, it was Ed and Eddie, exactly. That show was great. It's like it just felt like more quality content, and of course, Cartoon Network had all the DC shows too, which really helped because I was super into comic books like I am now. That was like Justice League. That's something Nickelodeon doesn't have. And so it definitely helped that it had a more dramatic flair. Because everything on Nickelodeon is kind of just like a goofy cartoon or like a goofy sitcom. I mean, I liked Drake and Josh.
Oh, yeah, that was a really good show.
I wasn't like into Drake and Josh as much as I was into like Batman Beyond.
Did you guys ever watch all that?
I did,
yes.
for a little bit. What shows and channels did you watch as a kid? Because your childhood varies from ours by a few years.
I think you barely missed the 90s kid cut, didn't you? When were you born?
99.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, you're even younger than me. Yes, another baby.
Baby.
I would definitely jump ship between Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel. It all depended on what I needed. If I needed some kind of goofy sitcom, I'd go to Nickelodeon because, of course, they had Drake and Josh, and later they had iCarly. If I wanted a quality cartoon, I'd go to Cartoon Network because they had Codename Kids Next Door, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They had Adult Swim. They still have Adult Swim, which I enjoy watching.
I love Adult Swim. I loved Adult Swim as a kid. It was a really bad idea to put that together Cartoon Network because every kid watched it.
Did you ever like turn the volume down to make sure your parents didn't hear?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yes, all the time.
No way, my parents would watch it with me.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to talk to your dad.
Like, sir,
My parents never filtered the TV.
those are some cool parents.
Yeah.
No,
But if I wanted quality, like, wholesome show, I would definitely go to Disney Channel because That's So Raven was definitely a big part
yeah.
of my upbringing. It was the only show on TV that had a prominent black family as the central storyline. And Disney Channel hasn't had a black family as the main family since recently. I think last year or 2 years ago, they came out with the show. Oh gosh,
What are you talking about? You never watched Proud Family?
Was that Disney Channel?
I love Proud Family. It was like the only show on Disney Channel. Well, I like Kim Possible as well.
I feel like
Kim Possible was really good.
those two were like in the same universe, weren't they? Because I remember.
Proud Family and Kim
Because I remember they did
Yeah.
Did they do a crossover episode?
I mean, the art style is pretty much the same between those two. I'm sure there was a crossover.
It might have been. I remember when I first saw a crossover episode, my mind was blown. I was like, what? They can do that? This is game changing.
And that's how the Avengers were born.
Pretty much.
And you had shows like, what was it? I know That's So Raven did a crossover with something else as well.
Oh my gosh, That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana was the biggest thing to ever happen in third grade. I swear. I was so excited. This was before like DVRs were like important in every family. So instead of recording it on a DVR, I had to pop open a videotape and put it into the VCR and hit record because I was not about to miss that. It was just so good. I mean, now I can just YouTube it and find it, but I mean, I still have the video tape and it's in very good condition.
Dang.
That's awesome.
VCRs are old.
My lifelong love for the Transformers, discounting the movies, was created by late night, right before Adult Swim. Transformers, oh god, of course now, Armada. Transformers Armada aired just before Adult Swim when I was a kid. And it, like, basically changed my life. It opened up, like, Optimus Prime and Megatron and Starscream. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Who was your favorite Transformer as a kid?
Hot Shot.
Well, Optimus, and then I got a little older, and it was Soundwave.
Soundwave? No, mine was Hot Shot all the way.
Mine too. Freaking Hot Shot.
You guys are lame. Hot Shot's just a rip-off of Bumblebee /
What?
Hot Rod.
Well, it worked.
So, yeah.
It worked.
Wait, but wasn't Hot
Yeah.
Shot? Didn't Hot Shot come out before Bumblebee was even a thing?
No, Bumblebee was always around. He was always that-
Bumblebee was in the 80s, and he was not in Transformers Armada. He was kind of replaced by Hot Shot.
I think that's why, because that's when I was first introduced to Transformers. It was during Armadas when I met. Isn't that when they were like hunting for the mini bots and all that?
They were hunting for the mini-bots. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that because then I remember watching it, and then I remember the Transformers movie coming out, where that's actually when I was first introduced to Bumblebee, and I was like, what the hell, you guys got Hot Shot wrong.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I was thinking
and
too.
then later on I found out that Bumblebee was an actual character. I was like, oh.
Yeah, Bumblebee was in the original series. He's been around a lot longer than Hot Shot. Though Hot Rod is a character.
Beast Wars?
Yeah, you never.
Beast Wars?
Yeah, have you guys ever watched Beast Wars?
I don't like Beast Wars.
Really?
Optimus truck, not monkey.
You didn't like Cheetah? You didn't like any of them?
Nah.
Yeah,
I am
actually
basically G1 all the way. I
Nice.
don't care about anything else.
actually depending on whose house I was at would depend on my shows because, like I said, I was pretty much babysat and grew up at my grandma's house, but then I pretty much lived at my grandma's house and I would come home to sleep just because of where school was at. So when I was at my grandma's house, I would watch WB, and I would watch Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and I would watch Digimon. Those three shows were my shit at my grandma's house. And then when I went home, I would watch Cartoon Network, Disney, and Nickelodeon, and then but mostly I would watch Cartoon Network over everything. But I remember being the only kid in my first through fourth grade class who even watched Digimon. And I looked at everyone like, you guys are weird. Like, Digimon is the bee's knees.
Yeah, Digimon was freaking awesome. I remember watching that as a kid too, and it was like, at first it was like a rip-off kind of Pokemon kind of show, and I was just like, oh, what the hell is this? But then when I kept watching it, it really got interesting. You know, the whole concept of them evolving and then devolving to get to like their normal state and stuff like that, and then it's kind of like, you know, like Dragon Ball Z, where they have to level, like, power up just so they can defeat their opponent in a fight. And I like the concept of it, and their adventures too are pretty crazy.
Were you guys super into Dragon Ball growing up?
My brothers were, and because of that, I caught a lot of it. So I, in a sense, was as well. I wasn't going out of my way to watch it, but I caught most of it anyway. And
Shadow, you disappoint me.
Looking back at it,
Dragon
I'm
Ball
glad I did, because I'm currently watching Dragon Ball Super. Which
I actually have not watched any of it yet, but I am really looking forward to it. I kind of just want to wait for the dub, because I'm as much as it's freaking, you know, heresy and whatnot, I don't care about anime, so whatever. I am attached to the English dub of Dragon Ball. I like those voices. I like Goku's English voice.
What's wrong with you? Subs over
Was Dragon
dubs
Ball
every
your
time.
guys' gateway to anime?
No, dude, it's gotta be dubbed. I'm sorry for freaking Dragon Ball. Any other anime that I don't like many other anime, I'll go subbed. Because I understand that's the original vision, that's the way it's supposed to be. But Dragon Ball, I like those voices. The guy who's doing freaking Vegeta's voice is brilliant. Same with Piccolo, everybody. They all have great voices that fit the characters. Maybe it's because I played the video game so much as a kid. And those were just the voices I grew up with. Those are those characters' voices to me. So I'm just going to wait for the English dub.
Was Dragon Ball your guys' gateway to anime?
Yeah, it was mine for sure. If I'm not mistaken, it was either that or Sailor Moon. One of those two was my first anime.
I love Sailor Moon. I think I would have gotten more into anime because I don't really like anime, but I love Dragon Ball. and then somebody was like, "Oh, you like Dragon Ball? You should watch Naruto," and that completely turned me off of anime.
Oh, gross. I'm actually not a big fan of Naruto.
I also remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh! A bit. I didn't get really that into it. I just like caught it every now and then. And I think as a kid, that was about it for anime that I watched.
My gateway was Princess Mononoke.
I mean, I like Akira.
Yeah, I remember watching Princess Mononoke. My uncle, again, introduced me to it. And he was like, dude, let's watch this. And I was like, what is this? He goes, just watch it. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I saw this, like, what is this and where can I get more? That was my drug back then. So whenever I see any of those kind of movies, like, it just takes me back to when I first watched my first anime.
What about you, Demetria? Any anime from your childhood?
Actually, growing up, I didn't have very much anime exposure. I was more into reading or watching TV shows. Like, my favorite TV show is Doctor Who. I don't know if any of you guys are a fan. I know Dragon is a big, like, non-supporter of Doctor Who.
It's not that I'm not a
As am I.
supporter. It's not that I'm not a supporter. I don't know. It's just something about it. I just, like whenever you talk about Doctor Who, it makes me I roll my eyes super hard.
Yeah, that's exactly, because my whole family got into Doctor Who at once, and I was looking at it like, really? Like, I was like, this is the show? Like, it basically is like you guys started watching Power Rangers. Because it feels very similar to Power
Oh my
Rangers.
god, Power Rangers.
I was definitely into Power Rangers as a kid, though.
Oh yeah, me too. I remember watching when it first aired, that whole show when they came out with the English version and the movie as well. I saw all of it as a kid.
That movie's my shit. And once I found out they were remaking those toys, I went to Toys R Us, I went to Walmart, I went to every store possible to find those toys and play with them. I don't care. I'll admit it. My girlfriend judges me for it. I tell her, you know what you got into when you first said yes. So, no. I can go for Power Rangers. Like, if we can make a whole episode just for Power Rangers, I'm too down for that because
Well, I mean,
I
the
lo-
movie
I-
comes out. The
I
movie comes out
freaking
next
love
year. We could do a Power Rangers podcast then.
I'll
The
even
new
do it by
live
myself.
action.
I don't care. You can just hit record and walk away. I don't care.
Are you excited for the new live action movie?
Yes. Movies that I can watch over and over again will probably be Lord of the Rings. I remember watching all of them as soon as they came out. Even when the Hobbits came out, even though they weren't that great, I was still excited for them because I remember, watching Lord of the Rings a lot when I was a kid.
Lord of the Rings is like, I love Lord of the Rings. I think it's an amazing book series and an amazing film series. But I definitely feel like, especially with the movies, it's like a once in a blue moon sort of thing. Like, whenever I get the craving, I'll dig out the three and just watch them all in one day, and then never watch them again for like a few years.
No, see, I'm the total opposite. I can watch from the first movie to the most recent Hobbit movies, and then start all over again, and then watch it all over again. I can watch those all the time.
See, it's funny that you say that because I don't think I could ever rewatch the Hobbit movies.
Dragon does the whole rewatching series like very often. Actually, before the recent Star Wars movie came out, him and his buddies watched like all 6 movies back to back, 1 through 6, and then rewatched it in different orders just to see how the storyline played out. He's a very big fanatic of movies.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I kind of did that with Star Wars, except I skipped 1, 2, and 3. But
the machete order.
what's that?
Did you ever watch in the machete order where you watch? Episode-
no.
What was it?
See the machete order. It's
4, 5,
4, 5,
6.
2, 3, 6. I never did that because I hate even in that order. I hate 2 and 3 so much that I'm just like whatever. But
Really?
yeah, oh god, I hate the Star Wars prequels so much. They're the worst.
Wait, real quick, what's the machete order? Like, what's the difference between that and any other order?
So basically what it is that you see Luke Skywalker and his adventures with the rebellion in 4 and 5, and then when Darth Vader reveals his big secret that he's Anakin Skywalker, and in Empire, spoiler,
You're supposed to say that before.
Nope.
yeah,
Too late.
you go to 2 and 3, and it's almost like a flashback. You see the adventures of Anakin Skywalker as a Jedi in the fall of the Empire, and then it finally climaxes in Return of the Jedi, where you see the redemption of Anakin Skywalker and the Fall of the Emperor and blah 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 blah.
Well,
That's
not only
Machete
that,
Order.
when they remade the movies, you know, at the end when you see Ben Kenobi and Yoda, you see like their ghosts.
In the special edition, it's
Yeah,
Hayden
they
Christensen from the prequels.
Yeah, they put young.
They put young Anakin in there when they
Which is
remastered it.
stupid. It's the stupidest thing in the history of
And-
Yeah, but that's
the
what
world.
that's
Have you
why,
paid
that's why,
Have you
like,
paid
the Machete
attention
Order-
to?
The Machete Order is supposed to make a bigger impact when
Oh, and it also skips episode 1 because you actually it's not necessary.
it really isn't.
Episode 1 has no effect on any other Star Wars movie. None of them. Nothing happens in that movie.
There's
that
really
affect-
only
even episode 2. Like the events of episode 1 are barely referenced in that movie.
there's really only 6 movies of Star Wars because you can take out one.
I would argue there's only 4.
Really? Would you, oh, well,
would
taking
argue-
out 1 and 2.
Well, I mean, no, I would argue that there's only 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
I really hate the prequels. I basically pretend they didn't happen because they ruined the movies so much for me.
Yeah, but once you hear that Star Wars theme song,
Yeah.
No?
Doesn't really
Doesn't
work
hit
for me.
you?
No.
All right, well,
It feels false.
is there any
doesn't really feel like a Star Wars movie.
is there any theme songs that plays that gets you going? Like, you know how like Harry Potter will send you down memory
The
lane?
X-Men theme song.
X-Men?
The cartoon series theme song.
From the 90s?
Oh, yeah, that gets me so pumped.
Saturday morning cartoons. That's when
That show has the best theme song ever.
Yeah. No,
Other than, like,
I like
Thundercats.
the Power Rangers. Go go Power Rangers and
I
the
love that one.
guitar. Yeah, that
Go go
I'm sorry,
Power
I think-
Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I like
It's
that.
like the coolest. It gets you so pumped because it's. And,
makes
and
me
the
want to
show
go
is
punch
not
something.
even that
I want to
exciting.
get into a fight.
Yeah, I want to be in there and fight those people and then watch electricity and explosions happen after every punch. It's gonna be crazy.
Exactly, all the backflips.
All the backflips.
But yes, no, X-Men, the 90s X-Men, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a freaking awesome theme song, and the Fellowship theme from Lord of the Rings is really awesome,
Yes.
and it gets me pumped as well as the Shire theme is like a beautiful piece of music.
You know what? I know
Um,
this isn't a theme song, but I'm going to say it anyways. The Blood Rave and Blade. I don't know why. Like, to this day, if I hear it, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's party.
Which Blade?
I hear
Blade 1, the Blood Rave?
Oh, I haven't seen Blade 1. I only saw Blade Trinity.
What the hell? You saw the
oh
first
god, dude, really?
Yeah.
one? You need to go watch Blade 1.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, watch Blade 1 and 2, and
Actually, you just need to see
ever
that
saw
scene.
Blade
You just
3.
need to see that scene, and then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to
Did-
YouTube it real quick after this.
Watch Blade 1 and watch Blade 2 and like forget you ever saw Blade 3.
Yeah.
But Blade 3 had
Yeah, 'cause
Ryan
that is-
Reynolds in it.
That's okay. It's fine. It's sacrifices we have to make.
Okay.
One theme that really I guess we're on that topic now. If it's not really a theme song, but the music that plays whenever in the Matrix, whenever Morpheus and Neo are like walking through the simulation, and he's like, "Are you looking at me, or are you talking to me? Are you looking at the woman in the white dress?" The music that plays in that scene is really, really awesome. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat some people up, and they're just walking in that scene. They're just walking.
That's the kind of music that we like as kids, just beating people up music. I remember, not gonna lie, like as a kid, my older brothers used to listen to a lot of rap. So I, as a kid, in turn, listened to a lot of rap, including like DMX, Eminem.
Rough Riders Anthem.
Yeah. X gon' give it to you. That's not the Rough Riders anthem, but
That's not the Rough
I know, but that's just one of DMX's songs. I can't really sing Rough Riders anthem because there's a lot of words I can't say.
No. We want to keep our listeners.
Exactly.
Um,
But yeah, I remember that song playing in the Rough Riders anthem playing in what was it, Down to Earth with Chris Rock in it, and my dad loved that movie, and because of that, he always likes to sing that song, and I tell him to stop.
Earlier we were talking about the games that shaped our childhood and stuff, the video games, and I was talking about Mortal Kombat. Basically, when I was a kid, I thought Mortal Kombat had a lot more potential than it did. I thought it could be like a whole movie series and like, blah, blah, blah.
Bad idea.
And, I mean, I still kind of do, but when I was a kid, I was very creative. I would write comic books by myself and, do all these kind of things, but I didn't have a video camera. I didn't have a video camera, so what I would do is I would set up an audio recorder because I had cassettes and an audio recorder. So I would record basically my own radio dramas of Mortal Kombat by myself when I was like in the fifth grade. And I ended up doing the entire plot lines of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. But this is where it gets really funny. So basically, in these radio dramas, is sort of like brothers and friends, sort of like Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, only done better. And
So you mean the TV show Mortal Kombat, because they were kind of friends.
Basically, yeah. Only they were basically they were basically movie length. Like I think Mortal Kombat 1 was like 2 hours long, and I did like the whole thing, and I would like act out the scenes and like do the karate moves like in my room. It was really lame. But
you're such a loser.
But I was like in fifth grade. But here's the thing. No. Let me get okay. So like I said, I set up Scorpion, Sub-Zero as like allies and brothers, sort of like Obi-Wan and Anakin. And in Mortal Kombat 2, I had them fight. And they had like a big, like epic, like you're my brother kind of fight.
Like Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing about that.
You were my son.
It was very tightly connected. And when I did the fight, I thought it was so cool. I was in fifth grade. I was like, oh my god, this is so epic. And I was like making the fight, and I was like acting out the fight, and I was like humming like the Duel of the Fates from Star Wars as I was fighting. And then when I re-listened to it, you could actually hear me humming it. It was the cringiest thing.
Oh my god.
Because I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my god, this is so epic. And then it just sounds like a little boy just like humming Star Wars music.
I mean, Alex, we all know that you're still that little boy that hums Star Wars music himself. You just don't record it.
Yeah, while fighting myself with karate moves. And I don't know karate. It was cool, though. I wish I still had that tape.
What about,
I'm sure it's still lying around somewhere. We got to leak that footage. We got to leak that footage.
If I can find that would be a gem. And we could listen to it and like I could pause it occasionally and we just start laughing.
And we could just put it. We can link it into the podcast. If you can find it in time, link it into the podcast right now, and then just play you just going.
I don't think I'll be able to find it.
Get over here.
Anywhere. It's exactly what it's like, though.
Scorpion spears a shoestring. Get over here.
He just throws the shoe, holds onto the string.
Like I really wish I had recorded it, like with a video camera, because that would have been even better. But man, it was really fun. I thought it was so cool. I think I did the same thing with Dragon Ball as well. I think I recorded like another Dragon Ball series and like came up with my own characters and like, you know, when you're a kid, you like and you're into Dragon Ball, you're always like, this is what Super Saiyan 5 would be, and like and that's what I did. I was like, I have my own Super Saiyan 5, and guess
Christ.
what? And Frieza and Cell, they do the fusion dance, and they're a new bad guy named like Cell Frieza or something. It was so stupid.
Asterisk, was this before or after you discovered DeviantArt?
This was before. I mean, I was just a kid, and I was just like, I like Dragon Ball. I'm going to make up my own Dragon Ball. And I guess I didn't realize that people had done thousands of Super Saiyan 5s online. But my Super Saiyan 5 was cooler than everybody else.
Is this an unbiased opinion?
It is an unbiased opinion. And I'm going to pitch it to Japan. I'm going to be like, hey, guys, you want Super Saiyan 5? Here you go.
Boom, give me $1 million right now.
Boom, give me $1 million.
Or yen, whatever you guys have.
I remember I called it the Shadow Saiyan.
God.
It was Goku turned
that
all black
with
red eyes.
You named it after me. That's very flattering.
Hey, that's exactly what I did. I time traveled.
Boom.
Boom.
Wow. All right, so what else?
Eiffel 65 all the time.
Oh my god. Oh my lord.
All the time.
Oh my lord.
I don't care what you say.
You want to help transition that so it's not just me cutting in and all you hear is just Eiffel 65?
What about Eiffel 65? What about Eiffel 65 appeals to you, actually?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Were you blue as a child? Were you blue?
As a child, no. Actually, my favorite color was blue. That's probably why, because my favorite color is blue. And so, hearing a song that's all about the color blue, I was like, yes, I want this song all the time.
This is the time that I, as a child, thought that I could be a great singer. This is when, you know, they had the CD players and stuff like that, and I was listening to it in the backseat of my CD player, had my headphones on, and I didn't know that I was singing so loud and horribly in the backseat. But I was going in. I was just like, I'm blue, da-ba-dee-da, as a little kid in the backseat, and they're just like, you should really shut up.
Yeah, that and Daft Punk. I mean, I think I've always liked EDM and
Yeah,
techno and stuff
that's
ever since I was a kid. From earlier example, listening to the Blood Rave, talking about that, and then yeah, and all that other stuff is just. I think I've always liked EDM. I think that's why I like it so much now, even
For
if it
me,
counts as
growing
EDM.
for me growing up, I had like a really weird mix of music because I really like Tupac. Tupac was a very big part of me
really.
growing up. Yeah, but I also really liked Alicia Keys. And at the same time, I'd go from Tupac and Alicia Keys to My Chemical Romance, Panic at the
Oh
Disco,
Lord.
and Fall Out Boy. So it was just a weird mix.
Oh, you listen to Panic at the Disco too?
21 Pilots. 21 Pilots. I don't know why I said 22.
Well, 22 Pilots, yeah.
That's
Well, I mean, now my music taste has changed. I'm definitely a very huge fanatic of 21 Pilots and Watsky. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Watsky. He's very good.
I don't think
Actually,
so.
I think you guys would like this band. It's called I Fight Dragons. I showed it to
oh my.
Dragon. You liked it, right?
It's interesting. I didn't dislike it, but I don't play it all the time. I liked it. I'll be honest. I liked it.
When I was a baby, actually, I'll go even further than that. When I was pre-birth,
That was a feat.
yeah.
When you were a sperm cell.
When I was just a sperm cell, no. When I was a baby in my mother's womb,
A wee lad.
my dad would put headphones on my mother's stomach, and that was how I was introduced to the Beatles. From a very early, I was basically indoctrinated. I've had Beatles memorabilia and albums, and of course the music basically surrounding me my whole life. So that music is basically in my blood. I love that music. I love the Beatles as much as I love Batman or Star Wars. It's very, very close to my heart.
I don't know.
But
You sound like you were very convincing on liking Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
I remember listening to Beatles as a kid too. My dad used to have their albums and everything. He used to play it on this huge sound system that he had in the house, and I listened to a lot of Beatles as a kid. And if you're as passionate about the Beatles as you are Star Wars, and that's a lot of passion because you're
That
a
is a
huge
lot of
Star
passion.
Wars fan.
I am a huge Star Wars fan. I'm also a huge Beatles fan. But other than that, the music that I was into as a kid, I really it made me happy when you said Daft Punk. Listening to, actually watching Interstellar 555, the animated movie. Have you ever seen that before?
No, I
Yes,
haven't
I
seen
have
it.
seen it. I have seen it. It's
Yeah.
been a while, but I remember that one.
Well, for those of you who don't know, it's an anime that is basically a giant music video for the entire Discovery album of Daft Punk's, which is their best album, IMO.
Wait,
And,
wait. Well, sorry, you said IMO. Okay, never mind. I was about to say because
Yeah.
their new album. I don't know about the
Yeah,
latest,
Random
like-
Access Memories. Everybody loves it. Pew, 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 whatever.
No, I actually like listening to it. I like listening to it when I'm like, in my artistic vibe and everything. When I'm just in the zone drawing, that's a really nice album to jam out to drawing. Personally,
Growing up, did you guys ever look up to anybody? Like whenever you see this person now, like it could be a person, comic book character.
Oh, yes.
I'm pretty sure you want to say Batman.
Well, Batman, for sure. Also Spider-Man. But here's the one that people give me weird looks for. When I was a kid, I really, really looked up to Darth Vader.
what the fuck?
He was my hero. Like, I thought of him as a superhero. But
Elaborate.
he's not. He killed kids. And he, killed a lot of people.
That's pretty dark. And you're just like, I hate everyone in my classroom. I'm gonna grow up to be
Well,
Darth
it's not
Vader.
that. I
and
wasn't
murder you.
looking at everybody like, I wish Darth Vader would come and kill them. But I thought Darth Vader was so cool. He had, a mask. He looked like a superhero. He had a cape. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's cool. And, of course, the prequels, which, the third one wasn't exactly out yet when I started idolizing Darth Vader. So I was like, oh, so he used to be a hero. He used to be a good guy. So that means Darth Vader's a good guy, right? And I just idolized him, and I got the toys, and and I remember when I was in fifth grade in class, because I was so bored and so terrible at math, I would write my own comics. And one of the comics that I did was Marvel Superheroes versus Star Wars. But Darth Vader was inexplicably one of the good guys. He was just one of the good guys. And he teamed up with Spider-Man.
That sounds kind of
No
hype,
explanation.
actually.
It sounds cool, right?
Yeah, it sounds pretty
But-
cool. I would definitely
but-
read something like that. But
You should make that into a thing right now.
Well, I would be way better than I was. The only cool thing about that entire series, there was a cover for the third issue, and it was Darth Maul, and he's screaming at the camera. He's got his lightsaber ignited, and over his head is Captain America's mask, all ripped, and like his horns are going to the top of the mask. And I was like, that's really cool.
That sounds pretty
It's
epic.
Darth Maul. It's Darth Maul wearing Captain America's mask and like implying that he killed him and stuff. But that's like the only thing I like about it. The rest of it's really dumb. Doctor Doom becomes a Sith. Guess what his name is? Darth Doom.
Jesus, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's really bad.
That's really bad. It would be cool if you had the instead of Captain America's helmet on top of Darth Maul, if you had like Daredevil's helmet on top of it, because it'd be more fitting.
Yeah, but I think the only reason I did that was because he actually fights Captain America in that issue.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. And plus, besides, Captain America is like a huge character, so.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing his mask all ripped up would make people go like, oh my god.
What about you, Demetria? Is there anyone that, when you see, you think of your childhood?
No, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe, of course. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, Harry. Because, you know, he played Harry Potter in all 8 of the film installments. But for me, definitely Jack and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Whenever I see any kind of merchandise that has them on it, or even when I hear Blink-182, the song I Miss You, because they mentioned Jack and Sally, like, those definitely. I mean, The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite movies. So not so much a person. I know, I love that movie too. I try not to look up to people. Writers become writers and artists become artists because you are molding this thing into what you want it to be. So yeah, definitely for me, Jack and Sally, big part of my childhood, causes major nostalgia for me.
Like throughout my life, I never really had a role model, but there was there's 2 things that really stand out to me. Like one of them would have to be like Shadow the Hedgehog. I remember playing those games, like Sonic Adventures too. And that was one of the reasons why I have my gamer tag is what it is today. Also because my cousin has a parrot named Shadow, and the dog from Homeward Bound, Shadow, was pretty badass. And it's just all...
Do you talk to your shadow?
Huh?
Do you talk to your shadow?
Sometimes.
So did you really, your gamer tag really comes from Shadow the Hedgehog?
Well, that's one of them. One of the reasons why. It's just like all those things that are Shadow that have been in my life are just badass, and I was like, I want to be badass too. So I decided to do that. But yeah, and besides that, that was just like the inspiration for like my account name. But one of the reasons that I do the things that I do today was because I was so inspired by the works that Bungie has done throughout their time. Like Halo's one of the huge things that I grew up with as a child, and Bungie, the studio that created them, was a huge inspiration for me. So I started aspiring to become a game designer, which I still am dreaming about doing today because of them. So I can make a game, not like Halo, but just make a game, make something that can be remembered throughout history, kind of like Halo is to this day. So because of them, because of Bungie, I'm pursuing my dream, my ambitions to this day.
That's pretty cool. Mine would have to be... It's actually 2 people. Well, not people, but characters. One part is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and another part...
Really?
Yes, because I love Mortal Kombat. I know I didn't mention it earlier, but it slipped my mind. And
I wish you had.
I wish I had too. Mortal Kombat, I always enjoyed playing the games. I always liked using Scorpion, just because I liked every time he threw his spear at people, he's like, get over here, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I don't know why. I still do to this day. And then also, special announcement, guys. Next topic we will be talking about is Tom Clancy. We're going to be talking about the books, the video games, and possibly the person himself.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he's dead. If you like this podcast, we've done quite a few more. We've done one on comic book movies in general. We did one on the Avengers: Age of Ultron when it came out. There's a Halo one. There's a Deadpool one that just came out. That was really good. If you like this one, you can go check those out, and they're really good. And it has a little more me. If you want to get annoyed, and it has these other guys, and they're awesome. Check them out.
Hey guys, it's Demetria. Thank you again for listening. I definitely enjoyed being a guest in today's Johncast. Are you guys interested in being a guest on an episode of Johncast like I was today? If so, contact Shadow's Gmail at komodoisgay@gmail.com.
That sounds so terrible.
So good. So
That's
good.
great. I love it.
If you guys have any topic ideas for the next episode of the podcast or future episodes of the podcast, you can put them in the comments below. I mean, we're basically willing to talk about anything. We're very expansive people, so if you have an idea for the next episode of Johncast, let us know down there, because we will probably do it.
Thank you guys again for joining us for this episode of the podcast. I want to thank my guests for this week, BxA Dragon, Mighty Asterisk, and our special guest this week, Demetria. If you guys like this podcast, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because that helps out a lot, and spread the word as far as wide to as many people, your friends, your family, because that helps out as well for me. And it gives us more reason to do more of these podcasts, and the wider audience that we have, the more people that can actually listen to it as well, so that you guys can talk about the same things that we're talking about. But yeah, thank you guys again for joining me. I've been Shadow the Boss. That's Boss with a 0. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.